Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another Application Packaging Experts Roundtable. We've got a lot to go over today, so we'll get right into our housekeeping. Yeah, everyone's muted. We've got the Q&A, so please do ask questions all the way through. Like last time, if we don't get to them, we'll put it in the community. So we did that last time. We had a bunch of questions we didn't get to, and we responded to them there. So we'll continue doing that going forward. And you'll, like all the others, receive a video once we're done. So I am Bob Kelly, Product Management Director for Security Products in AdminStudio. Kieran?
Hello, I'm Kieran Monkey, Product Manager for AdminStudio. Thanks for joining us today.
And I'm Mike O'Connor. I'm a Senior Solutions Engineer covering AdminStudio and some of our other solutions at Flexera.
Great. We've also got our friend Jason on the call to help us with Q&A as we go. We always bring a topic to the table and then go off of whatever questions we get to pull the conversation along. In this case, we're just about to release AdminStudio 2023. And so we thought it would be a good opportunity to take you through AdminStudio as it is today and show off some of the things that you might not have seen or used recently with and we'll call out what things are new along the way, but kind of just give you an overall look at the product. And that should be a good opportunity for you from a Q&A perspective to see, oh, I always wondered this, or is this capable of that? So it should be a good trigger for good questions around the product, the use of the product. I know we usually try to keep it less product focused, but with the release, we thought this was appropriate. And a number of the people who do attend these are customers or are interested, so it seems appropriate enough. I've got kind of a outline of the demos here, kind of a part one, part two. But I think we'll do very little slides today, and it'll be all demo, and you know how demos go. So cross your fingers for the guys. I know Mike and Kieran have done enough demos in this product to have seen it all, but today's going to go nice and smooth.
Yep.
Now you just said it, Bob. So now I don't know about that, but yeah, we'll roll with it. Yeah, cool. All right. I'll share my slide first. Cool. Well, getting started with AdminStudio, I'll start on our new Getting Started page. So this is something that we'll be introducing with the next release of AdminStudio coming soon. And talking to customers, AdminStudio is a very powerful solution, but there's a lot of different parts and ways you can go in and click on things and perform different actions. So we wanted to provide some guidance for those that are new to packaging, or at least just new to AdminStudio. So we added this Getting Started page. And you can see here there's different topics, areas. You can hover over these things, and we have little tool tips to provide more information, as well as there's links to the massive help library that comes with AdminStudio. So if you're not sure about a certain category, you can click on a question, and it'll take you right to the product help. And there's also, in many cases, there's videos that we have available too. So we have our Learning Center, which is off of our customer community, and we have a series of videos of how to do various things. So if you're new to AdminStudio, new to packaging, you're going through an evaluation of it, or you've had AdminStudio for a while and you just want to make sure that you're utilizing all the different capabilities, this is a great place to go. And as you complete it, you can check it off, and it kind of shows you how much you've completed throughout getting the full value of AdminStudio. So I'll start here. Create or connect to an application catalog database. I can easily connect to one, or I can create a new one. I've created one already, so I'll just connect to that. Creating a catalog is pretty easy. If you have the right user rights to create a new database within AdminStudio, you can do that pretty easily. AdminStudio will connect to the database and do it all for you. You can also provide a series of scripts to your database administrators, and they can do it for you. We also have support now for Azure SQL service. So if you want to host your application catalog in Azure, you can do that. And a quick review that what the catalog is, what is that? It's a workspace is the way I think of it. So once this is set up, all your application packages, EXEs, MSIs, you're getting from vendors directly that you've developed in-house that you want to prepare. We have this thing called the package feed that allows you to quickly download a lot of third-party popular applications a lot of organizations use directly into AdminStudio without having to search for them. Regardless of where they're coming from, you load them in the catalog, and this is your workspace or your workbench. This is what you, if you need to do very little to it or a lot to it, this is the space, the creative area where you can prepare that application, whatever you need to do for that. So I'm connected to my catalog, and then next up is importing an application into the catalog. So I can easily do that. I can import a single application at a time, or I can import multiple applications. There's different formats we can pull in. Probably majority of you are managing Windows applications, so traditional Windows installer, MSI format, as well as EXE packages that vendors provide you would be the two most common ones. But you can see there's some other formats we can pull in as well, including the Mac applications too. So I can choose an application here, or I can go over to package feed, and that's that large library of applications that Flexera is managing and updating every single day and making sure that we have the latest release of. So I think I have Google Chrome already imported, so I'll choose maybe Google Earth as an application. So I just
We're adding to this all the time, so I just wanted to see at this moment that you're doing this, what's the count? It's 5,401 installers we have covered at the moment.
There you go. So I think it's one of, if not the largest independent catalog out there. And you can see you don't have to go to a separate page or separate place to download. It's right within the tool that I'm using to prepare the applications. Yeah, thanks, Bob. So choose the app. I'll choose to download it. We'll download it directly for you. You can choose the location where AdminStudio is saving this behind the scenes. But once that's saved for you, then I can go ahead and import that in my catalog. Same would be true if I have a internally built EXE or MSI, or I went to some vendors, you have to prove that you're an active customer and go to their portal and download it. So you can load those in this way too. So you've got the install and uninstall information. This one doesn't have a lot of detail around customization, but there's a way to provide that to be able to pull in additional details there. So we're providing, with this package feed, we have the installer, whatever the vendor's provided. We try to provide an MSI as much as possible. It's easier to work with and deploy, but if the vendor only provides EXEs, we'll have that. We have the silent command line switches in most cases, which usually takes some time to research. Detection method information, especially for executables, can be take some time to figure that out. And then for MSIs, the ability to easily customize it with a transform file. We can do all that for you. So now we've got an EXE. We've got the install and uninstall information here for you. So that's all figured out. Detection method information's here as well. So all that, which is downloaded in a matter of a minute or so with AdminStudio. So I imported catalogs. I also had the testing automatically run when I import, so I automatically got some testing analysis for the various operating systems, Windows 10 and now Windows 11. We can test for risk assessment for Windows Desktop. We can test for things like Java dependency, MSIX, which is that new format Microsoft is slowly developing and releasing and evolving over time. We can do assessment for that, virtual compatibility, a lot of different things. So, the idea is up front, let's tell you what this application requires, potential challenges. Hey, I'm going to deploy it to, Windows 10 or Windows 11, this particular build. Is there, if I deploy that and install it and run that application, what potential challenges am I going to have? Let's give you all that knowledge up front right here So then you can quickly mitigate it and fix it before you ever try to deploy it and have to deal with the hassle of all those help desk tickets and other things after the fact. Cool. So we can do a lot of the testing. You can see I'm chugging along and finishing this up. So like I said, we can test for virtual applications, so especially the MSI formats. So I can see if it's a good candidate for MSIX, and I may have some issues with MSIX, things like shortcuts. So if I don't have a shortcut, I don't have an entry point in launching the MSIX package. I don't have that program, I think it's called, to launch it. So that could be a problem. And being a vendor MSI, there's lots of custom actions. So it's not something, that's why we classify it as a warning. It's not potentially, this doesn't mean you can't virtualize MSIX, but know that there may be some, it's best to run it and execute it. And through our conversion for MSIX, we can tell you, we can execute the installer and capture those details and create an MSIX package from that.
Yeah, but I guess all those custom actions mean there's some dynamic logic happening
right
during the installation, and so you're not capturing that logic, just the outcome.
Right, exactly that. Right. So the logic that it's contained is not going to be captured, just the end result of that. Whatever. So you want to have a machine where you're going repackaging or converting. You want that to match up your standard image in your environment as much as possible, so it's close to that. Cool. As I mentioned, there's different ways to customize. So for Google Chrome, for those that are coming from our package feed, we have the ability to, those that are MSI based, we've done, in addition to the installer, the detection method, the command line options, we've done a lot of research for MSI based installers to figure out all the different further customizations. I like Chrome because there's tons of different options, and you can set these configurations here. We'll remember what you want. And then we'll set this up. I'll use everyone's favorite website, AdminStudio.com. And we'll use these settings, we'll remember them. And so every time there's a new version of Chrome, we can download it and apply these customizations and automatically create that transform file for you. So you don't have to figure out the research, you don't have to determine, is there a new version of Chrome or whatever the application, where do I go to download it? What are the command line options? What are the detection method information? How do I customize it further through a transform file? We can take all those parts and pieces and automate that for you. So those applications become hands-off. They're kind of fully automated, run through AdminStudio. They're prepared all the way to your distribution system. So you could have this automatically published to Intune or SCCM or Workspace ONE or whatever your deployment system of choice would be. And I can also launch, we include the install shield editor as part of AdminStudio, so you can always create the open install shield up and create a transform file beyond, above and beyond what you want to be able to do the minimum customization. So whatever you need to do, add new files to this. If it's a application, you need to add a file or a registry key that adds licensing information or something like that. Be careful about that because you don't want to deploy a single user license and put it in an app and deploy it to thousands of folks. But if you want to add licensing or other configuration information, you can do that here too. Cool. Another way we hear from a lot of customers, they want to prepare applications is, if the vendor does provide me an EXE, MSI would be best because it's easy. I can create a transform file, easily customize it. But they provide me with an EXE and it's got silent command line switches. That might be all I need. Or I may need to do something before or after the installer to, during that installation process to really prepare it, right? So if I've got an application that installs via an EXE, it installs silently, but I still want to add a config file or something like that to that application. Not really an easy way to do that with an EXE. So a lot of our customers have turned to the open source PowerShell app deploy toolkit to wrap applications. So, and then they can add that additional logic to the PowerShell script that would then run as part of the application. And we've added support for that with AdminStudio. We've had this for a little bit, but we've enhanced it further. So in case of Google Earth, I can take in the installation, uninstall information. I'll wrap it with PowerShell. where I want to store the output to. I can rename the script if I want to. And then I can choose to edit the script. So if what we have here is there's a template that comes with AdminStudio out of the box. You can customize that further. If you got certain scripts or certain commands that you want to add to the script, to the template, you could do that. And then when I perform this wrapping, we're copying that template over to a new location. We're copying this application itself that's being wrapped over and then performing the wrapping. So then you may want to open that script up and then do even further customizations for this specific application. So you can easily do that. And wrapping should take more than, I don't know, five seconds or so. So it's pretty quick and easy. And then it automatically gets imported back into the catalog. So now you have in this case, I have the original EXE version of Google Earth Pro. And then I also have the PowerShell wrapped version of Google Earth Pro. And I have the tests automatically run, so it's doing the compatibility testing as well. And because I chose, let's open the script up, we can do that too. And something we enhanced was the ability to, we were pulling in about, when we do that copy of that template, we do basically a search and replace of certain things like the application name, the name, the vendor, the version, the architecture, things like that. We were doing that for about a dozen or so. Now we've expanded it out and we can do a whole lot more. In fact, if it's any of these properties, package properties, or going back to the original EXE, anything under what's called extended attributes, any of these things, and you can add to this list too. So the options to add further customization to your script and pull from the catalog here and customize it and set the scripts up basically allows you to do even less work around customizing those scripts. You can pull from here and we can update the script accordingly. So I've got the script there. Now I've got the EXE, that's the original one I put out. Now I've got the script, maybe the PowerShell wrapped version, maybe did some further customization to it. And now I want to publish this to, say, Intune. Intune, we're hearing from a lot of customers, a lot of folks that are looking at Microsoft Intune for their, to tie in alongside of SCCM, or in some cases to leverage that solely as their distribution system. And you may know Intune. Intune will take in MSI packages natively. It'll take in MSIX packages. But for EXEs, you need to do an additional step, which is wrap that installer inside of what's called an Intune Win wrapper. And only then will it, can you publish that into Intune. So we could do that as well. So I can convert that, choose Intune WinWrap package.
On the PowerShell script, Mike, so yeah. Sometimes it happens that or we have rather heard from our customers that they would like to write some logic within the script. That logic could be, let's say, you go and check for something, some deduction, and all the new properties that we have added, especially like the product code and all that. I think it's going to make it very easy for our customers to leverage those properties and write their own script. So overall, I see that's going to make their script very robust. And it can really help them with respect to the time. Otherwise, they would have spent trying to fetch product code or any properties that are specific to an application outside of AdminStudio, right?
Right.
So that I see is going to be extremely valuable. All that data that AdminStudio gets from the packages now can be leveraged within your script.
And then, like I said, you can augment that or extend that further with additional attributes. Right. Both these are the ones out of the box, but it's easy to add more to this list. And so you can save, configure all this information here, and then when you script it, it just pulls all that into the script, and it's included by default.
Right. And another best thing is you could also extend this list. This list is also customizable. This is the list that you get out of the box. There is an XML file attached behind. So you can also go and add any additional extended attributes if you'd like to.
Yep. Yeah, so it's just editing an XML file. So, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Cool. So I'll jump back to Google Earth Pro. I've got the EXE, I've got the PowerShell wrap version, and now I want to publish this PowerShell to my Intune instance, but first I need to convert that into an Intune WinWrap package. So we could do that. I can wrap EXEs and MSI packages, and I can also wrap now PowerShell wrap packages too. So I could rename the package that's a resulting package if I wanted to, the output directory here, kind of summary of what I'm about to do, and then it performs that wrapping of that application. So now it'll get it into the Intune Win format, and now I can then publish that out up into Intune directly from AdminStudio. So
Now it's double wrapped?
It's double wrapped.
Double wrapped.
Yeah. If we could, right? If Intune supported native publishing EXEs as is, we could, but they want their to make that Win32 package format. You need that Intune Win wrapper. So now it's there. You can see the package that's inside of it is the wrapped PowerShell in this bundle package, and then I can go over to Intune, and I can configure all the information, the install and uninstall requirements, detection method information. And the idea is configure it all, save it all here in AdminStudio, and then when I want to distribute up to Intune, it's just a couple of clicks to do that versus having to go through the wizard in Intune and publish it. And in AdminStudio, especially the Enterprise Edition, we can publish one app, or I could publish dozens of apps all in one go into Intune. So if I'm going through a migrating over to Intune, AdminStudio can make it an easy migration over to Intune. Cool.
This is why I like the application model in AdminStudio. So what it essentially means is you have an application and you can have multiple versions of its package or different formats of it package which fits your which fits your requirements, your deployment requirements, right? So the same Earth Pro is now in Intune format. It's also in exe format. It's also in PowerShell. And let's say you choose to, let's say, repackage exe to MSI, which could also be done using the application, the automated application converter. So now for the same application, you have multiple formats, and it makes it so flexible. It gives so much of flexibility to choose the format that you would like to, depending on your deployment system or what your deployment requirements are.
Yep. I'll turn it to Kieran in a bit, but you can set it up where we can leverage what we call our automated application converter that can interface with Hyper-V or VMware infrastructure, or soon to be Intune, or excuse me, Azure VMs, to spin virtual machines up and go through that capturing process and repackage applications from exe to MSI, from exe or MSI to AppV. So you can set that up on the back end, and then it's an easy process of just right-clicking the package where you want to start from, exe in this case, choose MSI, go through that process, and then choose the virtual machines you want to utilize, and then we'll run all that in the background. So that's less work that you have to do to spin those VMs up, copy the package in there, run that capturing process, pull the resulting package down. We would handle all that process for you. All right, so just talk about briefly with the package feed. So as Bob said, there's over 5,000 software installations that we host, and that thing is getting updated every day with new versions of existing apps, and we're adding more and more to the list. And the backlog tab within AdminStudio is ability to provide AdminStudio. Here's a list of the applications I want you to go after. Check in to see, compare the version I have locally with what does Flexera offer right now. And if there's a newer version, let's go ahead and download it, and then add additional actions like we've talked about: testing of applications, wrapping of applications, publishing to Intune on another system. You can set all that up here with AdminStudio. So a lot of your applications that we can handle through this, we can automate, and there's less manual interaction with those applications. So these applications are added as part of the trial that get added to the backlog automatically. I've got a couple applications already downloaded, 7-zip and Chrome. There you can see the new version is available than what I have. And then for Notepad and UltraEdit, I have a match for UltraEdit. I just wanted to show for Notepad++, we have a couple different versions. So the main vendor, Donho, releases it as exe, but I believe there's a Notepad team that they're a little bit behind the versioning, but they offer an MSI version. So up to you. We provide both of them for you. So if you want the latest, that's the 8.5.3 as of today. But you can also, if you really need the MSI version, we've got the 8.4.7 version too. So you can choose which one. And the little pencil icon indicates that being an MSI, we have some additional customization that we can do for that application. So I can enable shortcuts, suppress reboots. If you want to change the add remove program information, you can do that here. Change the application folder setting. So if I want to do that, I can do that here. And then it's just a matter of checking it and hitting this execute button. At the very least, we'll go ahead and download it and load it into the catalog. But you can add additional actions on top of it. So I can have it automatically run the testing. That's Windows compatibility, MSIX suitability, Java dependency. Testing can all run in one go. Excuse me. I can automatically have it automatically wrap for me using my PowerShell template, and or including I can have it then turned in Intune Win, and I can have it automatically published to my Intune environment. So you can just layer those actions on top of each other. So you can control the level of automation. Maybe start off at first, just go ahead and downloading it, taking a look, and then over time you can add on top of these different actions to then fully automate those applications if you so choose.
There's a couple questions coming in. One was requesting that you demo the extended attributes in PowerShell. It's probably not going to be a good demo, but I just wanted to mention it. Essentially, we're populating variables, and the name of the variable is the extended attribute without the spaces. So it's pretty intuitive. Another question that's come up a couple times, we neglected to say when the new release was coming. It will be out this month.
Yep. Perfect. I will show I'll give you something. So if you want to see what our template looks like out of the box, let's see here. You can see this. So this is the template. This is what gets used each and every time when we copy it over. And you can see the before. If I scroll down here, you can see all these basically placeholders in these curly brackets. So that's what we're replacing. And so these are the ones that come out of the box by default. I actually added these two at the bottom here. So if I go back, we should be able to see it. Oh, so it has a license count. So there is a license count back here. There's a license count extended attribute. So if I put like in a 3 and I rewrapped it, you would see this license count getting replaced by the number 3. So whatever the property is named here, take out the spaces, right, Kieran? And then you've got your attribute that we're replacing with here. And then that's just a string, right, that I'm defining. And then you could use that string through whatever's relevant for pre-installation, installation, or post-installation, uninstall and repair, whatever those attributes, wherever you want to use it, that's what we're putting in here. So you define it all, you kind of add it to the template, and then once that's added, that's what we use. That's what we're doing with the wrapping. We're just doing search replace. Yeah.
So the package feed module has thousands of installers, but not every installer in the world.
Right.
So how do you enjoy this automation capability without it being in the catalog?
Yeah, so we can supplement, like I said, there's third-party vendors that you got to log into their portal and prove that you're an active customer. You may have internally developed applications or really obscure vendors, whatever it may be, may not necessarily show up in the package feed. So we've allowed you to augment that or extend that capabilities through what we call the monitor directory. So you provide a shared directory, UNC path to a network share. And this becomes kind of like a Dropbox area. So if you start putting packages into the shared directory, AdminStudio will periodically look for any new applications since its last check-in, and then automatically import that into the catalog, and then follow the same naming convention. So you could choose, this is the folder structure that's in my catalog now. I could create maybe a new group, as we call it. And then you could even create subgroups based off of the folder structure. So app 1, you could create trying internal apps, right? So have an internal apps folder and then create a new group. So app 1 gets a subfolder underneath it. App 2 gets a subfolder underneath it, automatically created as those applications get dropped in this shared directory, in this monitored directory here. And then you can layer in, you can see these actions include monitor directory here. That means once it's imported, you can have it automatically get tested, automatically wrapped in PowerShell, automatically converted, say, into Intune Win, and or automatically published into Intune. So those internally apps or obscure apps that we don't have today in the package feed, they can be treated very similarly. You'd have to do the initial download, but then we'd handle the rest of it for you.
Yeah, so we know automation is important. The more people we talk to, that's the goal. Automate as much as possible so that we can get more done in the time that we have and respond faster to the need for updates for security reasons and so forth. So you've long been able to do quite a bit with PowerShell. Every new feature has a PowerShell commandlet, so you can automate pretty much anything AdminStudio does. But but we've been slowly pulling more and more of that automation power directly into the UI here, so that you don't have to, be a master scripter to pull this off.
Exactly. And then I'll just talk about briefly, so you can set this up on a schedule. You can have AdminStudio run every day or several times a day or several times a week. Let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10:30 a.m. whenever. I can set up the schedule, and then anything we have in the package feed that automatically says yes, we'll have AdminStudio go in and automatically refresh it for you. So is the version I have locally older than the version that Flexera offers right now? If so, let's go ahead and download that new version and run it through those same actions. And then we can notify folks too through, point us to an email server, and we can email folks, or if you got Slack or Teams, they can support posting through email. We can, post in a Teams channel that, hey, I just downloaded these 5 new applications. They're already prepared and been published in Intune. Check it out. All right. I think I ran through my side of things. Anything else?
Yeah, why don't you take over, Kieran, and show us a couple other new things while we still have a little time left. That was great, Mike. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mike. Let me take over.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to start from the tool we name Automated Application Converter, or AAC. Most of you might have already heard about the tool Repackager within AdminStudio. You generally use Repackager for converting one package format to another one, primarily legacy formats like exe into more modern formats like AFI, or the new format like MSX package format. Now, AAC is our automation tool where you could add multiple packages and configure a virtual machine, and you'll be able to perform all these conversions or repackaging in bulk and automatically. So it's totally hand-free. You could set up the conversion. You could start the conversion, let's say, on a Friday evening before you go to your home, and by the time you come back on Monday, you should have all your packages converted to your desired format. So you could access this tool from AdminStudio Home tab. You click on AdminStudio Tools, and right here you see Automated Application Converter. So I've launched the tool already here. So when you launch, this is how the tool looks like. There's a tab by name Machine. So here is where you configure the virtual machines that will be used for repackaging and conversions. So earlier, we supported these hypervisors: Microsoft Hyper-V, VMware ESXi, and VMware Workstation. And what you'll see coming up in AdminStudio 2023 that will be released within this month is support for Azure virtual machines. I also saw a question about this. Is the support for AAC, is the support for Azure VMs coming in AAC in AdminStudio 2023? Yes, the answer is yes. So here's the demo. So you select this new option, Azure Virtual Machines. I've filled up these details already. So these are your Azure details. So you could authenticate yourself with Azure. And once you pass the authentication, you will see the list of VMs that you have created in Azure. So this is what I have. Let me go ahead and select the platform as Windows 10. Click Next. So these are machine-related details. So I'll quickly go ahead and populate all these details. Our documentation will help you with details as to how do you fetch all these details from Azure. Then you will have to select a recovery point. Imagine recovery point like a snapshot. So you'll have to tell which snapshot you want to use for conversion. The next two recovery points, sequencer and appv, are related to sequencer and client are related to appv. So let's say I'm converting MSIs or EXEs into appv, then I would want to select them. But in this case, I want to convert to MSI, so I'll ignore these properties for now. That's about it. You add these details, click on next, and you're done. So this is the primary change that is coming in AdminStudio 2023 is how do you add Azure virtual machine into AAC. From here on, it remains the same. Nothing has changed here. So you come to the packages tab and you could add multiple packages. For this demo, I'm going to add one package, simple one. Notepad++. All right. So after you add the package, you will see a lot of properties on the side here. So some properties are related to the package. Some are related to how do you want this installation to go through. Do you have any pre-install configurations, post-install configuration? The installation is generally done automatically by AAC, but let's say you want to have some manual control over the installation. You could also enable this, and AAC will wait for you to manually install. So these are some settings that will give you control over how do you want to install. And these are some controls if you're converting package to appv. This is appv all versions. This is 5.x, and this is old one. We should really drop old one. That's really going end of life soon. I'm going to convert Notepad++ to MSIX, and we all know there is a certificate required for MSIX to be installed successfully. And right here within AAC, you could also supply the certificate. There are two types we support, supporting the PFX file, or you could browse a certificate from the certificate store if it's installed in the certificate on your device or stored in the device. I'm selecting PFX, and let me select the certificate. Give the password, and if your certificate and password is all good, then you will see the certificate subject name will be automatically populated. Now, the certificate subject name is important because this is what will be set as publisher in your package after the conversion. So that is pretty much what I want to do here. And then from here, I can start the conversion using the conversion wizard. One other thing, I've just added one package here. You could add any number of packages and also any number of machines. So when the conversion triggers, the packages will look for which is a free machine and then picks up that machine for conversion. So that makes the conversions a lot faster when you have too many packages, and if you, let's say, have more than one machine added into AAC. All right, I'll trigger the conversion. So these are the various formats that are supported in AAC, and I'm selecting MSIX. You could select any other format that you desire, including appv or MSI. Next, this I'm telling this is the platform that I configured on the VM when I added VM into. Right now, once I start the conversion here, I may not be able to come back. So I want to show you one more thing here. So all the machines that you add here within AAC, and you could save all these settings as a file just by clicking here. So I've already saved this as a file when in demo project. Now, what demo project necessarily has is your VM and all these settings that you've configured for that VM. I'll tell you how we are going to use this demo project file later in Application Manager. All right, that's it. Let's finish the conversion. Sorry. Click next. That's it. The conversion gets triggered. You will see some really detailed logs about how the conversion is progressing, and they should give you a good understanding of where you stand with the conversion. And even here within the tool, there are some visual indicators to help you understand what is the current phase of conversion. There are various phases, like this is copy in, repackage, copy out, and conversion. Copy in is where your package will be taken to the VM, where the repackaging happens on the VM. The repackaging output comes back to AdminStudio, and then the conversion happens. So these are various phases that happens within the entire conversion repackaging process. And right here, you will see where your conversion stands at this point. All right, this is going to take a few minutes. So meanwhile, we'll go and look for some other interesting features that we have added in AdminStudio in this release. So this Application Manager, Mike spoke about all the features in very detail. Oh, that's not good. The reverting seemed to have failed. So let me try the conversion process one more time. Okay, machine selected correctly, all good. Okay, let's start again. Right. So right within AdminStudio, you have few more options for conversion and repackaging. For example, you could click on any of the packages here, and you have an option called a convert or repackage. This essentially triggers a conversion wizard. For some of the conversions, you would need a virtual machine. So here is where your configuration file that you created in AC would be required. You go to Application Catalog, click on Options, and click on Plugin Options. Right here, you will see Automated Application Converter plugin, and here is where you supply the AAC file that we just created in the AAC tool, right? So once you supply the file, now Application Manager will have access to the machine. Now this is beneficial in two ways. One is, of course, when you want to trigger the conversions right from Application Manager, and the second benefit is if you're configuring conversion as an automation action as part of your entire automation process or packaging process. So even here, the AAC project file will be used to get the virtual machine details. Now, one other feature that I want to talk about is about MSX, the kind of support and the comprehensive support that we have within AdminStudio. I'm going to start with the new MSX editor tool that we have introduced in AdminStudio. I shouldn't be calling it as new. It's been there since some time, but this tool was specifically built ground up to support editing of MSX. We already had installed Shield for editing, but when we looked at MSX and the way it is being built, and also considered the persona, like the package engineers or IT professionals who will be using MSX, we thought it makes sense we build a new tool, and that's how we've got a new tool for editing MSX. So you could go open any package within MSX editor, MSX package, of course, and right here you will see that we get into every detail of the package. If you look at the left view, the left views of this editor, this is designed to match the pattern of the manifest file, so to give or to make it more intuitive, right? So the first tag in the manifest, if you see, it's about the package information, tells you about what product version and all those details. Files and folders tells you what is the payload, what the package contains, registry information, dependency, exactly like the way the manifest looks. And applications, and the, applications are like shortcuts in your MSI world. So this notepad has one shortcut, and there are various attributes for this application. Visual assets, you can call them more like icons, and you could make edits to icons. You could change the icons if you wish to within the editor.
Another thing that we did thinking about the IT pro persona here is when you go in and, what would you do with an MSIX? You'd look at it. You can do that just like Kieran is here. But if you want to make a change to the package, then do you want to save that directly to the MSIX, or do you want to save it as a modification package? So you don't have to first declare you're creating a transform and then pick your base. You just open the MSIX, make any changes, and when it's time to save, you can decide if that goes direct or into a new separate modification package.
Yep. Thanks, Bob. So here is where you will know how do you want to save your changes. Do you want to save your changes as a new package along with your base package, so it comes out as a new package along with your changes, or modification package, which essentially contains just your changes? Like transform, but not transforms.
Yeah, the cool thing with that is, right, those modification packages can exist independent. So as you have new versions of the MSIX package, you don't have to recreate the modification package each time like you would with a transform.
Right. That's what makes this modification package really flexible, right? You could create it once, and you could just keep using the same modification package for all the future versions of the application, unless you want to bring in some new changes. Right. One other thing that we see could become complex is what is being referred as fix-ups. So MSIX is a container-based application, so you generally put all your MSI or EXE into a container. So there are chances that it might run into some runtime issues while you're running the application. And one way of addressing some of those runtime issues is by using Microsoft's Package Support Framework. Package Support Framework is a library of fix-ups, and these fix-ups are essentially developed to fix those runtime errors. And the best thing about these fix-ups is you don't need to have access to the code. You could identify where the package is running into runtime errors and then add a fix-up to fix those problems. And here is where we think some advanced understanding of how fix-ups work and identifying the runtime errors will be important to take the benefits of this functionality, right? So right within AdminStudio or within MSIX editor, you could trace. Trace essentially helps you to identify if there are any runtime errors. And when a runtime error is found by an application, will automatically recommend the fix-ups. And in here, you will see that what are the recommended fix-ups by the tool based on the trace. Or you could also add your own fix-ups if you know, hey, this package has this problem, so let me add this fix-up. So these are various fix-ups that are supported within the tool. And there are some fix-ups that we have introduced, like today, there is no really a straightforward way for passing arguments to an EXE in MSIX. Generally, it happens that your shortcut points to an EXE and you have an option to pass some arguments to that EXE. That is not possible in MSIX. So we've introduced this fix-up where it gives you this ability to pass arguments when a shortcut or an executable is launched from within MSIX. And go ahead.
I was going to say, Kieran, that PowerShell script one is one a lot of folks ask, like, I want to run something, right, when the MSIX package is first, executed by the user or after it's done. That's how you could do that here, right?
Correct. Exactly. Thanks. So we have clearly defined the properties that are required for each fix-up. So let's say here I'm trying to add a PowerShell fix-up, and right here you will see these are the various properties. And Mike, to your point, yes, here is where you give the start script. So this script gets executed while launching and this at the end. So, and you could define how do you want to, you just want to run it once or every time an application is launched. Right?
Yep.
So similarly, all these other fix-ups come with their own settings, and you could keep adding these settings, click on update, and all the fix-up related files and all of that will be added to the package without you having to worry about any other complexities. And one thing that is not very common in our IT pro scenarios is signing. We understand that a lot of package engineers are finding it like an overhead to really figure out how do we sign MSX packages. So we made it a lot easier with an MSX editor for you to help sign MSX packages. You could go to preferences, and right here you could give your signing details or your certificate details. Again, here we support PFX and certificate store. Here I've added a certificate, and once I'm done adding, all I have to do is just click this button called sign. If you notice here, like I said, the subject name should match with the publisher. So here you're telling if the publisher is different, override it with the subject name, and here the subject name is Flexera. So let's see what happens when I click on sign. All right, so you see the publisher change to Flexera, and we also see the signing is successful. So that is mostly about editing MSIX to meet your requirements, or in case you have to fix some runtime issues within MSIX, or if you want to make some changes with respect to icons. You will see some of the views are read-only, and we are waiting to hear some feedback and interest, and we are slowly opening up all the features within MSIX editor. Now, other than that, other features around MSIX, I know Mike spoke everything about the catalog. So MSIX is another package format that you could import within AdminStudio catalog, and also you could publish MSIX packages to Configuration Manager and Intune. So essentially, you have end-to-end support for MSIX within AdminStudio if you are really looking for moving your legacy applications to this modern format, right from the point where you could assess if it's a good candidate for MSIX, and then you could convert to MSIX. And after the conversion, if you see any problems, or if you want to fix some of the problems or edit MSIX, then you have editor. And once that is done, you could publish MSIX to endpoint systems like Intune Configuration Manager to eventually deploy those packages to endpoints.
The reality for a lot of people is they're not just going all the MSIX, right?
Yeah,
so
true.
The fact that you can use the repackager to create an MSI and an MSIX is helpful, but then in the automated application converter that Karen showed, those weren't radio buttons, they were checkboxes. So you could have MSIX and AppV and ThinApp and MSI all being produced by the same automation, if you wish.
Yeah. I think that was pretty much what I wanted to show in this demo. We'll be happy to take
that wraps it up well, Karen. Why don't you stop sharing? We'll go back to the slides.
Excellent. Sure. Thanks, Bob.
See, and I didn't jinx you. The demos all went off pretty well. No blue screens, no disconnect. All right. We have got some questions. I've been answering a few of them directly. And then I think the others I'm seeing might be a little deep, and so perhaps more appropriate for community. But why don't you guys take a look and see if there's something you want to answer while I plug the community? Yeah,
sure.
Go ahead.
I just saw one, and they may have missed it, but they asked if there's sample templates for the PowerShell wrapper. So there is one that's included with AdminStudio. So when you install it, we have our template with all those different placeholder values added to it. If you already have an existing one, you can bring that in. I did that one time for a customer. I think it took me 10 minutes just to add our placeholders to the PowerShell script, or you can use ours as a starting off point, build off of it. But for more suggestions of different actions you can run, you can check out it's PS App Deploy Toolkit, or Google it, search for it. It's an open source project with a community and everything. They have a lot of different examples of different things you can utilize with the PowerShell App Deploy Toolkit, and bring those into your template in AdminStudio, and we'll perform the wrapping with it. Yeah,
and it's actually a lot more powerful than just a template, right? They've developed a bunch of commands and functions that you can take advantage of in the PowerShell App Deploy Toolkit. If you want to learn more about that, we did a session previously where we had a couple of the guys from that project on to talk about it. So on the sign up page for the roundtable, you'll see links to all the past videos. That's a good one to check out. And in terms of what we might talk about next time, we're always soliciting ideas, what you would like to hear about. So we've got a thread in the forum where we'd love you to come tell us what you want us to talk about next. And that next one will be September 12th. And I'll be back to talk about packaging with another twist.
Cool.
The release again is out later this month. And we'll, as we normally do, are planning another towards the end of the year. And Karen and I do roadmap sessions with customers regularly. So if anybody is a customer and would like to kind of walk through in detail the things that we've done recently, the things that we have coming up, we're always interested in having those conversations and getting direct feedback.
Hi, Bob. Can I take one question?
Yeah. I think we have time.
I see a question.
Just one.
Yeah, there's a question. Can we generate certificate using AdminStudio for MSIX? Generally, the best practice is to get certificate from a CA or certificate authority. But if you want to do some testing or some piloting using MSIX, it's okay if you can generate a self-signed certificate. So there is a small PowerShell script that is authored, and there is a really small blog that's available on our community. It's really simple. You'll have to just copy the script, put it in your PowerShell, and run the script, and you'll have certificates. So it's that straightforward. So you could always go to the community, look for this blog, and you should know how to generate a self-signed certificate using the script.
Yeah. Now, to that point, though, the machines that you want to deploy that MSIX package to must trust that certificate, right? So, like you said, Kieran, the best practice, if you get it from a CA, like a DigiCert, Entrust, something like that, that'll be they're already part VeriSign. They're already part of the Windows, trusted store there. So it's kind of built in that it's trusted. Oh yeah, you signed it with VeriSign, you're good to go. If you do a self-signed certificate, you're going to have to distribute that certificate out to the folks. And so it's good for testing. I think it's great for testing out to test environments. But if you're going to deploy this out to production, you probably want to sign it with a CA cert.
All right, and we are at time. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.